All right, and we are live. Hi, everyone. I know I am so excited. I have never, ever, ever. Have you ever played that game? I've never. We could play that right now. I have never, ever done a retreat before, and right, and I happen to have two coming up within a 5 day span of each other. And I know this is like me just stepping into the next level of myself, right? Like saying, no, I'm ready to say that I'm ready for more. I'm ready to say that, like, this is me. I'm showing up and I'm investing in myself so that I can just take like a home, right? Like just a breath. And that is what we're going to talk about today is a retreat that's coming up November 4th with these two, oh, wait, this way, beautiful ladies that I can't believe I get to be a part of and with. And also with a couple other ladies as well. I'll let you, like, I don't know if we're name dropping or not. Okay.
Yep, name drop.
With another one of my mentors that I love and adore as well, Joy Kingsborough and Jen Kohler, Michele, Laine, that's here with me live right now. And then there's a couple other people that I get to meet for the first time as well. And I will be teaching Pilates in the mornings. And that's kind of like my role on top of just being able to be amongst all of you, beautiful people that inspire me and challenge me. Jen calls me on all my bullshit all the time. That's what I look for. But I'm going to kind of like just let you two take it over from here because you know all the deets. I just know I'm going to show up, and I know that I trust in my knower that this retreat really is going to change my life also. I'm up leveling who I get to be and putting myself in literally the same energy of all of you, just being there physically. So that's what I'm looking forward to most. So
yeah. Bursting. Okay, I'll go. Yeah.
I'm like, Michele is bursting and wants to speak. I'm like, go ahead and talk to us about like what we're doing, where we're going. Like, let's start there. Yeah.
Okay. Well, first I'll say hello. My name is Michele Laine. And Chantel, thanks for having us. Thanks for putting this all together. We're really excited to share this information, not only just with you more, but with anyone who is being called to discovering that deeper sense of self with them. So Jen and I, we both work in transformation from physical to mental to emotional to energetic and even spiritual. And what does that mean when we come together and create space for that for ourselves? You know, we have many different groups we're a part of, many containers that we put ourselves into as well as lead others through. And there's this beautiful energetic experience of being able to shed layers of what's no longer working for us and see the things that we don't always see ourselves so we can meet those new levels. So when we come together and retreat, it's even a more intimate, beautiful space to explore that discovery. You know, what really wants to be brought to the surface and cleared, what we can understand about ourselves that we can ask for more. And the gap that's between that just gets bridged so much faster by being together in experience in person in a closed circle, and knowing that everybody there has this willingness to grow and to evolve. And my first experience of that was on a hiking tent camping trip in the Sierras with 12 women I didn't know, and trusting my friend Jenny, who would provide the wild woman retreats. And I thought, I want to be a little wild woman, right? I did the same thing over and over again. And it opened me and blossomed me into what's possible because I'd never considered it before. And I started to learn about myself in such tremendously amazing ways where I would see myself where the fear would keep me from things. And then I would still get through it, or I'd tax my body physically and I'd still make it through. And I began to discover that there's more than what meets the eye in everyday life. And it inspired me to lean into what would it look like when I create my own retreats? How would I put the essence of me into that? And so now they've expanded and grown and they continue to. So we're gathering in Truckee, California, which is where the Tahoe Donner Lake Tahoe and Donner Lake meet right in the middle. And we're going to be in this beautiful 3-story home high atop a hill with amazing views and pretty much everything we need to just bring in that rest and repose, bring in the fun, bring in sharing time together, and being in an environment that's nothing we experience most of the time. and really dedicating that time for ourselves to be in that space, to slow life down and to venture into adventure and fun and play while we're growing, while we're learning. So, what else did you want me to say? I'm going to stop and let you talk, Jen.
I'm like wrapped.
You're like,
Hi, love. It's so good.
I mean, I guess I think of these things because the fall season is coming in. So there's already a time of change, a time of rebirthing, and it's a chance for us to dive into that as well. And like, who doesn't love, are you guys my girls? Like coffee, cozy blanket, socks, porch, outside, sunsets. Yes, please. Yeah. So that alone is worth going for, but there's more.
Yeah, I love all of that. I am your girl. I am the woman who wants to snuggle up with my tarot, my numerology, my oracle, and a journal with several giant mugs of coffee and sit for hours. Like that's like my dream life, is to be on a big porch overlooking the mountains. And like in the fall, that's like, it's like the coziest experience. And that's like totally what I love. So I love creating spaciousness. I love understanding and knowing that I am the creator of my life. And I think that that's really what we're going to be bringing to this retreat. This is not going to be a retreat where you're required to be doing something every minute of every day. This is going to be a retreat where you get to choose and you get to decide how you are creating your best life, right? And yes, we will have workshops, and yes, we're going to do new moon ceremonies, and yes, we're going to do numerology, and we're going to have so much fun together. And also, I dream of living in spaciousness and creating spaciousness so that I have space in my brain to be my vision. Because we are all visionaries. I mean, look at these women right here, right now. And the women that are coming to this retreat are visionaries. And when we don't give ourselves space to be the visionary, then we just get stuck in the mundane. We get stuck in the 3D. We get stuck in the density of the physical everyday life. And that is why I think we retreat. So I actually hadn't been to very many retreats. I'd been on a couple of little, really like low level retreats in my life. And what I know is that I don't want a twin bed. I don't want to share a room with anyone with a twin bed. And if I have to share a room, I want to be in like a nice, like luxurious space. Those are the things that I know about myself. And when I went on retreat and met Michele in May, when we went to Arizona, I really allowed myself the up level. I got the king size bed, and I like got my own bathroom. And I really, every single time I went into that space, I said to myself, I did this. I created this. I did this for myself. And I knew a couple of the women who were there, but everyone else was new to me. And it was so freeing and exciting to get to just be on the road by myself, to fly by myself, to leave my 8-year-old behind and like just go do me. And I felt like a person who I hadn't seen for a while. I hadn't traveled by myself for a long time. For 9 years, I hadn't traveled alone. And I got to travel alone, and I got to be in this adventurous spirit of me. And so a new self emerged. And I think that that is very thematic for how we're creating this retreat here for ourselves. Don't you feel that?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. And there's a new moon asking us to really dive into those truths so that new self can emerge. So this is the time. So the energy is already primed for that within the month of not only this month, but going into next, and really being willing to sit with those areas of truth that are calling us higher into that leadership, into what's next. And we may not know what's next. And that's what the conversation, the workshops, the channeling, the different things that we have going on in this is to be explored and discovered. And I love that you said that, Jen, because there's two things that came to mind. And then I want to hear kind of Chantel's take on this, because one, you've not been and you're going to two. So you're just going to you're going to be so not only proud of yourself, but I would say your socks will be knocked off and your mind blown at the same time. And that was going to all like merge together. But like you're just in the experience of what this is. Words don't always describe the sensation, the experience, and the takeaway from gathering in space like this. But that luxuriousness that we felt, I did the same. I had the room across from you in the main house that we each had our own king room. And the first response was like, oh, I don't want to take up this space. And I went, yes, I do.
Oh, I did.
So it was in that I'm like, I realized I did that for me.
Yeah.
And I do know, like I've gone to enough retreats and I love them all, but I do want my own space. And I do require that now because there's processing that happens and there's things that allow us to have that room. But I think the most fun thing that you said has been the last experience of the retreat that I did last March or April. It was in April. We had this moment where we bring the cards. Like, anybody have cards nearby? Like, you love them.
Everyone. Yeah, we have all the cards. I have like 12 decks.
Yeah. So it became very apparent, thank you very much, that all of the ladies, and they were very new to this experience, and we were welcoming into just like deregulating the nervous system, but everybody could have sat and played with the cards all day.
Yeah.
And I had this epiphany. Wait, you mean you guys really like doing that? Like, oh, and most of you don't even talk about that you like doing that. So there's this part of us that we want to express, but we're afraid or we're not sure what that means. And those are the places where we get to let those go now. And we get to show up fully and expressing who we are and how we like to spend our time. And so there's going to be a lot of that at this retreat.
Yes.
Because it's fun. So I wanted to just piggyback on those things.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yes to everything. It feels like, well, I'll say first that you're right. The words sometimes, I'm trying to find like, what's the magic thing? And the magic thing is just go with your feeling, right? As soon as I knew about this retreat, I was in. I was 100% in. I knew I had to be part of this. And then you asked me to do some Pilates at the beginning of each day, right? And that was just like an extra bonus for me. So I think this is what I've learned about myself as I've become more successful, become more of who I really am, is to really listen to that inner voice and to go with that versus, kind of figuring out, are the dates good? Are the times good? Like all of that kind of stuff. And I didn't know until now that it's where the two lakes merge, the Tahoe and the Donner Lake merge, which I love that symbolism, right? Where like we're coming together from what feels like could be your normal everyday life, merging to what you're wanting to create, like your dream life. This is why I put that ticker up there when you said that then, right? Because I think that's what it's about. Are you willing? You don't need anything else. You already possess absolutely everything within you to create literally your dream life. So if you want to do exactly what Jen said, snuggle up with a blanket, drink coffee, read great books, pull tarot cards all day, you can do that.
Yeah. You want to dive into deep conversation and take a little deeper look into why you are the way that you are and why things connect the way that they do. Like, that's available to you. If you want to sit back and have delicious food, which by the way is being cooked on site by Carissa Rayner, who has chef experience, which means we have an incredible menu. Jen and I were just talking about this. We literally have to post the menu because every time I think about rereading that in my mind, like I start getting so hungry. And she's going to be able to accommodate for all the needs, gluten-free, whatever we want, like all the things will be accommodated for, because that is one of my requirements going to retreat. I want to make sure everybody has plenty of what they would desire and that it fits whatever that is for them, that requirement, that allergy, whatever, it makes it easeful, right? So for me, making it easeful is inviting someone to do that with us and having them participate in the space, but sharing their passion and their love and their magic in that. I feel so honored that she's going to come and literally take care of us in that way and just have that full expression of herself honored. And then the space that we have to be able to do the things, it's not just your everyday food. She's really picking it up a notch too, in just the luxury and the deliciousness of what's being provided, which I love.
And let's talk about really good food and like what that does to nourish our bodies and our clear channel, because I think that that's something that's really important to all of us as mentors, as practitioners, as coaches, as healers, as creators, because when you have a clear channel, your intuition is flowing more clearly. Things feel better in the body. Your downloads come through much more easily.
Yep.
And when you have somebody who is actually like cooking all of the deliciousness for you, that is so powerful. But I really come back to that clear channel. For this whole month before the retreat, I am sugar-free, grain-free, alcohol-free, all of those things, so that I can be the most clear channel for this retreat.
Yeah.
And to me, that is the calling. It is the calling us higher.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like what we're nourishing ourselves with. Who are you surrounding yourself with? What are you putting into your body? What are you feeding your mind? All of those things are so important. And when we come together in retreat, we can really allow those things to blossom and to bloom, right?
Yeah, and all the other things to clear away. And that's what we also specialize in, is the energetic work. And so we amplify that coming together. And it's really powerful. Like, how do you want to walk away from this experience? What is your intention? Are you willing to give yourself that time and space to explore and just experience what may feel nerve-sided to go do? Or, and I love this so much too, because I'm realizing in this moment, we're all coming together and we've known each other online. That moment Jen and I got to meet each other in person, it was like my sister that I hadn't seen in a long time. And that was magical, to be in space with each other. And then to bring in all the elements of how I live my life. Like, so the people that are showing up like it too. And so it's not strange, right, Chantel? So it's like, I want to move my body. I want to do quiet breathing meditation. And then I realized I don't have to do it all this retreat. So what happens if I make a request? What happens if we bring in the energy of someone who does something so beautifully, amazingly different? And then that space opened up, and then here we are. So you get to share your beautiful essence with us as well and add to the experience. I live my life trying to take the best care that I can of my body. It's always a moving and shifting and changing design. It's not how it used to look. It's always a new experience, but it's always important. And I realized, Jen, that you said that it's, whether we're aware of it or not, being in that clear channeled state, being in that ability to hold space for others requires that purity from being the best, fullest expression of myself that I can be, and how I show up for my kids, and how I show up for myself, and how I show up for those spaces, and then how I show up for my everyday work, like being the walk of the talk that I live, that I about. And I would, of course, bring those into all the elements creating a retreat, because it is an expression of me, and it's important to let that grow as well.
Yes. Chantel, I want to hear a little bit about your Pilates, because of course I am doing online Pilates with you, and I have actually changed so much in my physical body from doing the Pilates. I've become so much stronger. I have a million times less pain in my hips and my low back. And so talk to us about the spine and what we can expect to receive from an amazing human like yourself in the morning.
Yes, thank you. I thank you for mentioning that also, because I do, like, talk about, you said like taking up space, because I have created a proprietary method around when I teach Pilates. So I am classically trained, meaning the way that Joseph Pilates taught his method and what we believe is his intention in moving this out into every single person with a spine. And then I have brought in everything else that I do, outside of that. And I've blended them together, and I've created this system that just does exactly what you're saying, Jen. It can take someone and it just starts to strip the pain down really quickly, right? You're like maybe 3 months in now with Pilates.
Yeah, I'm only on my fourth month. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you start to notice also, so it's about everything that I apply in Pilates really is everything else that we're talking about. It's about the nervous system. It's about everything from the inside out. We know that our bodies, our physical manifestations, whether it's our bodies or our homes or the people we call into our lives, is really about what's going on the inside. Yes. And so, I'll talk about, like, for example, when we know what anatomically neutral for our lumbar spine is, and we can hold ourselves in that position relative to space and then move our bodies, call in the breath work, it opens up the root and the sacral chakra. It opens up everything else above that. And these are stuff that I used to kind of shy away from teaching when I was in, teaching my normal, like I'll say normal, but people that are coming in for like a kick-ass workout, they're going to get the kick-ass workout, but they're also going to get like a little bit of talk of like, you want to open up your purpose to life. You want to open up like your opportunities. Let's go ahead and let's find your neutral. Let's move through those spaces. So yeah. Michele, you said something the other day that I really caught on, where you said, we receive from the back of our hearts.
Mm-hmm.
And I often have people start Pilates with me because they have pain across their shoulder blades, across their scapula. And so for me, I of course don't do this with a brand new client unless I sense that they're open to it. But we start talking about how the scapula moves along the backside of the body relative to the thoracic spine. And when we feel tightness or pain in there, we have blocked off the ability to receive.
Yes.
And so, we want to open up the front of the chest. We want to flow that out from us as much as we want to be able to receive from the backside and move our spine. So it's been incredible for me to really take up space in this world and say, I'm actually going to teach Pilates this way, and I'm going to attract the people that are interested in this to me. Yeah. And as I've been doing that, like you mentioned, I've found more clients that are reading tarot on the DL, right?
Yeah.
And so
on the DL.
So this is my little shout out to all of you out there, or if it's Oracle or whatever it might be, interested in the numbers, noticing the 1111 on the clock, and just being a little curious about it, being willing to be a little bit more curious about it. That's what this retreat is for, right? Let's just come in community with each other and realize that there is strength when we come all together in numbers, in sisterhood. Yeah.
Well, something that, sorry, Michele.
No, go ahead. I was going to lead into synchronicity, so I'm going to let you take it.
Something that you and I had been, we talked for like 45 minutes just this morning about like workshopping and like, what do we want people to walk away from our retreat with, right? Like, isn't that kind of like really the question? What are you you're going to come in and you're going to feel a certain way and potentially leave a certain way. And I think what we really came to, and I wrote some things down, so I'm just going to kind of look down at my list, but I feel like so many people are walking around right now, overwhelmed, frustrated, anxious, fearful, doubtful, et cetera, et cetera. Even if you're living in a high vibe life, even if you're an entrepreneur, you're living in a spiritual world and you've gone through the things. So many of us are feeling those feelings still. And I know that for me, frustration was my go-to emotion, right? So if I look at my training and my feeling wheel, and I think about what is the opposite of feeling overwhelmed, frustrated, and all of those things, it is really understanding that I am my own most powerful being, right? So what do I want you to walk away from? I want you to walk away from this retreat knowing how freaking powerful you are. I want you to claim who you really are. And we really want you to know yourself and understand yourself on a deeper level. And even if that's only over the course of a few days and you like take a few nuggets away, I promise you're going to take more than a few nuggets away. You're going to know yourself more deeply. You will know yourself more deeply. And that I feel like is the crux of everything that Chantel, myself, Michele, Joy, that is what we do. Yeah. It's the most important thing to know ourselves. So when you come into this retreat, we want you to reclaim your power. We want you to know yourself more deeply. Get in there, really dig in deep. And Chantel said it so beautifully. Everything that's happening outside of ourselves is what's happening inside of ourselves, right? It's the universal law of correspondence. Everything that you see on the outside, if you don't love what you're seeing, I did not like my life for a very long time. And I woke up one day and I was like, shoot, I was going to swear. I don't know if that's okay. Darn it. I don't like what I am seeing on the outside. And I all of a sudden was like, oh my God, I am the creator of my life. And I am the one who created all of this. And I get to shift it. I get to change it. And so it was my call. It was my dark night of the soul to come back inside and recreate what I wanted to see. And you guys, my life is just absolutely incredible.
It is, even through the chaos. So there's the and statement that's really important. And all the life can feel like it's falling apart and we can be stable in our foundation. So what does it feel like to be stable in that foundation, in the spine? What does it feel like to be in our power? And what the frick does it feel like when we're not? And where are we keeping that separation alive? So bringing that back in, because I think there's moments in life where we're really good about, oh, I'm feeling in it, I'm feeling the flow, things are going, and then things fall away. Momentum doesn't last forever. But then we can get tripped up in the mind on what we make that mean. And then instead of being back in our power and our creation energy and that loving energy, we're in some other emotion and it's driving the bus and we're feeling that we're at the whim of it. And so it's really important for me, like, even if you've done that work, when you come in a circle like this, allowing yourself to feel it as if you have a brand new experience. To let it take you to that next level, because then what is manifesting in your body? What is manifesting through your spine? What is it that you're just like, oh, well, that's been there forever and I just don't even pay attention to it anymore? Because back to that circling around conversation, Chantel, my entire left side has created, it's getting better, but the last 4 months I've had such an energetic shift in, hey, I'm shutting down on you. And you know where it started? The back of my neck. And you know what it really impedes from the back of my neck? My shoulder blades. And guess what starts to open is I've literally understood and embodied what receiving meant. I love to receive. I'll receive, but it's not easy when I've been a giver for 50 years. And so no matter what I think I'm doing, the subconscious patterns are still driving within. So it's really important to me to bring all of that to the surface and allow myself to experience that, because my body talks and it's not an enemy. And I think sometimes we think like the pain and all the things that are happening are, again, outside of us. And it's just all these different conditions and the reasons why. And we try to figure it out and create the puzzle. And truly, it's just your body working from the inside out saying, it's time. It's time to come in here and listen to me for a moment.
Yeah, I love, like you mentioned, the universal law of correspondence, Jen. And so that ties perfectly in with what you're just saying, Michele. I love reminding myself that as much as I do all of the work that I do, I can feel sometimes angry. I can feel sometimes sad. And it's especially as I continue to raise my vibration, I continue to do the work that I do, it's much, much, and much less. But then I can remind myself that when I am sensing those emotions, I'm feeling them, that I'm literally picking them up through the conscious field. And so I think a lot of people might not really realize that right now. And you almost feel like, and I can go back like several, maybe 6, 7 years, where I felt like I was those emotions. I felt like that was me. And this is really what you can walk away from the retreat also understanding is like through the universal law of correspondence, understanding what am I corresponding with? Who am I placing myself in close proximity to? What am I consistently picking up from the conscious field that is then feeling like it's embodying within me? And then I'm becoming that emotion. And that's just not true. You can choose a different emotion. As humans, we have that ability. And that started like to click with me as I drove a little bit more into the brain work also, and understand that you can consistently change and up-level who you are on a moment by moment basis.
Yeah.
And that really comes back to what you were saying before, Michele, where like, are you willing? Are you willing to choose something better, something higher, something up-leveling? And for the longest time, I felt like I have enough, right? I think so many of us have lived through that. I have most of my needs, and I'm going to put needs in a quote because needs don't exist. I have most of my, like a lot of my wants. So how dare I want even more? And this was like, I feel like that's who we're calling to, right? Like this is that war cry in the softest kind of way. If you're resonating with everything that we're saying, this is what you walk away from, is like, let me just embody what it is that others have figured out, and that can really help to help others discover this within themselves also. It's not something that someone else has or does that makes them experience life the way that they do, or have the successes, right? I'll do another air quote there, successes that they do, but we truly do possess everything already to create exactly what it is that we want to experience in this life, whether it's emotions or a physical body or, our $1 million dream home. I'm going to put that out there for myself. Yeah.
Well, it's a discernment piece. It's discerning, what is the outside influence, and how am I inside? What does it feel like to be me in that moment? And when we retreat, we get a chance to be with ourselves, not with the kids, not with the work, not with the this, not with the that, but with us. What is it like when I sit quietly? Do I like this? Do I not? What comes up when I'm, like, and I think we run from that so much, but yet there's so much deliciousness in it that we don't get to experience because we're so used to looking for the problem.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
And we get this moment where there's no problem. And we get to love all parts of ourselves. All of it is welcome. The insecure side, the doubtful side, the scared side, the happy side, the loving side, the passionate side. They're all parts of us.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I'm getting more and more excited. I didn't know I could be more excited for this retreat, but now I am all of a sudden.
Yay.
It's so good. We have time. We're about 3 weeks away. So right up until that last week, there's time for people to come in, but we want you to just feel into our energy, to feel into what we're saying, if it's resonating with your body and it's pulling you forth, like, heck yes. Let's have a conversation. We don't want you just to be like, hey, I don't know who you are. Let's get on the phone. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk about what's coming up for you, because I know that leap into saying yes to myself for the first time, it was a big discussion within with myself, because it's so easy to talk ourselves out of it because we don't do it. So what is the purpose of it? I don't need to spend that on me. But when you do, it changes everything in your life.
Absolutely.
It shifts you to that next level. It allows you to see that more is not a bad word, that more is okay, because when you allow yourself more, it ripples out into your environment, your world, your family, and it gives them permission to ask for more as well, in the sense of being, not doing, right?
Yeah.
Being more of love, being more of compassion, being more of what we want, desire, happiness, joy, bliss.
Yeah, it's so true. Like you said, I as a giver for my whole life, right? And then all of a sudden what happens? Our emotional state, everything else starts to shut down, starts to block off, until our physical body starts to close off and create pain in the back of the neck and the shoulder blades. And so it's so completely true. As much as we've heard it, we all put our oxygen mask on first. We all fill our cup up first. Right? It almost feels like maybe this is just me, but it feels like we hear this thing kind of all the time, that it's kind of like, yeah, but, right?
Yeah.
That is honestly, like, when I started investing in myself, that I really adopted it and understood that the more I take care of myself, the more I can give to others, the more that ripples out, and the more that I've really embodied that I am the universe, because this is what the universe does for itself. Takes care of itself first. And it's just, I'll use the word expectation of us as well, is understanding who we truly are, is we're meant to care for ourselves first so that we can move our light out into the world.
We make what's possible a possibility in our own life. Yeah. And we shift our thinking into possibility instead of lack. Yes. And, as humans, we're habitually wired to look for the lack, and we don't always get to experience the other side of that, and it opens up so much more.
Yes.
Sorry, but it does.
Yeah. I feel like that's our some of our DNA that we're coded with, right? Some of our spiritual DNA is that, thank goodness we have an ego that keeps us alive, but also ego, you can take just a little bit quieter of a role in my life, keep me alive, but let this higher side of myself understand that I don't have to live there anymore.
Yeah.
Like, as I evolve as a human species, as I change my DNA for generations to come, and all of my ancestors as well, that we really are changing who we are, encoding, by letting go of that fear and that lack and that scarcity mindset that kept our ancestors alive. It's no longer necessary.
No.
And I love that you said that, because I think that there's a really big shift happening in the world right now. And a lot of us are finding ourselves in this new way, new thoughts, new hearing these words and to understand more. And, what does that mean? Because that was me, like, less than 5 years ago. Jen and I have this conversation all the time. Like, she has grown up in conversation around some of this terminology, and I came into it in the last 5 years, and I didn't understand why everything was unfolding so fast. And now I get it. It's like there's work to do in the world. Other people are awakening to these aspects of themselves they don't understand, and these are the perfect opportunities to birth that side of yourself. And deeper understanding and connection. So
it's so true. Yeah.
What's next? What's
I
next
know.
for you, right? Like that's what we're going to leap into and discover and walk away from.
Yeah. What now? Right. So I guess maybe we just do like a call out. If you're resonating with this, if you're feeling this, then absolutely reach out to me, reach out to Jen or Michele. There is a link here in the comments that you can click on if you just know that you're ready to jump on in. But we'll leave this down in the comments.
Ask your questions for sure, definitely, and make it possible for you.
Yeah, I would like to end with, we are all wildly accessible human beings. Reach out to us in any way that feels good to you. If you want to have a conversation about money, if you want to have a conversation about what's possible, about your fears around leaving your family, around whatever the state of the world is, we would love to have a conversation with you around that. So please reach out to us, ask the questions, ask the hard things.
Absolutely, because that's how we make change happen, right? We lead it. So good. You guys, this was so much fun.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Chantel, for having us in your space and for saying yes to being at this retreat and by bringing your gifts. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited. I can't wait, but I can because the anticipation is just as fun.
I know. I feel the same way, actually.
It's so good. So we are looking for, where are we at? 8 more people to join us, 8 more women to say yes and come into circle. And we're excited to see how that unfolds. It's just always beautifully aligned. And so is it you? Let's find out.
Is it you?
Is it you? Is it you? You get all this.
Is it you? Is it you? Is it you?
Like I can feel a few right now. They're a hell yes in their chakras. I was just saying
let's do this. I love it. All right. Well, have a beautiful weekend, ladies. Thanks for being here.
Thanks you, everyone watching. Jen, Michele, I love you. I adore you. And I will see you in all the places.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.